Hey, what's up, guys? I hope you guys are having an amazing Saturday, and that tonight you guys get
You can use those.
just in case for everybody that is watching and listen and either watching us right now in the live or if you have your phone next to you, just listening to the podcast. Remember, this podcast we have another topic that we're going to talk about right now, but if you're listening to me right now, this is the end, I guess, of this portion of tonight's podcast. This will be divided in two. So if you guys want to listen to JP and us asking him questions, it will be on a special episode note on our podcast format. So you guys can enjoy the whole experience of how to build a cube and everything. Like JP said, he's going to send me all of his information because I know that we're having a little bit of issues when we make the invitation for everybody to be admin in our page. So when he gets his invitation at last and accepted, he will be making more posts on about cubes or anything magic related in our Facebook page. So guys, this week from December, let me pull up the calendar. Let me see before I say a wrong date. If I'm not mistaken, from December 14 until December 17, we were having some Kaldheim spoilers. And the most interesting part is that Wizard of the Coast announced this variant called Metal. So all these spoilers were given by metal rock bands, and each band had a different card, depending, I think, for the description of the band and whatnot. And they gave a little bit of lore of each card. But our second topic of tonight will be us talking about the Kaldheim spoiler week. So this week we saw a lot of very good, amazing cards. All the things that you're seeing right now are the official packaging for the Kaldheim booster packs. We're going to have the same treatment we did for Zendikar Rising. We're going to have our draft booster packs, our set booster packs, and our theme booster packs, depending on the colors, and the collector booster pack that's going to bring, we all know that is the one that brings the most of the showcase styled metal cards. But that is not the only thing. So you guys see all of this, right? And what you guys think of these spoiler cards? And I don't know, are you guys excited for some of these cards? Because I am, especially for Kaya. I was like, Kaya, you're going into my commander. You are so magnificent. Golo's casting that thing, going on the field and saying a lot of shenanigans just to make people's head suffer. So
I would just want to say one thing.
yeah,
Pyre of Heroes says sacrifice.
Okay. Yeah, I love Pyre of Heroes.
no, yeah, like I really did like the presentation. The presentation was really nice. If I'm not, the next spoiler event will be on December 24th on the Wizard of the Coast Twitch channel. So that's will be the next spoilers that we're gonna get. So probably will be the MTG Weekly. I guess that they're gonna have a little show and they're gonna present some cards like they always do. Then, if you guys want to see the list of every MTG content creator, will have one card to spoil, and mostly they're gonna do like Zendikar Rising. Each one will be themed out on the MTG creators like content. So, guys, starting with, let's see, Chris, because Chris came early, so we have to give him the chance to speak early. So, Chris, you saw all these spoils cards that have been out. You saw the styling of the borderless and the heavy metal style. What you think, and what is your favorite card that has been spoiled this week?
trying to think of my favorite card, but I don't like. I feel like I'll get a bit ahead of myself if I kind of start talking about my favorite card because like one thing that we have established before, maybe not on stream, but at least that we have been able to establish before, is that every time anything comes out Magic related when it comes to Magic sets, I just see everything and I want everything and I love everything because again I'm a Magic board. But at least when it comes to the art, my favorite one of these cards was, I think she's called, hold on, I have it right here. She's called Magda Brazen Outlaw. Like the metal style of her card just looks amazing. I absolutely love it. And I'm really tempted to build a dwarf deck. Like I don't even know if I have enough cards, but I want it. I want to build a dwarf deck so bad. She just looks so damn cool. I think she has like a dragon in the background, because which actually plays in perfectly with the with her last ability, which is sacrifice 5 treasures, search your library for an artifact or dragon card, put that card onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. Oh man, I just don't even know what to say anymore about this card. It just looks amazing. For our listeners, Magda Brazen Outlaw says she's a legendary creature, a dwarf berserker, which I already find freaking amazing. It's basically a dwarf barbarian, and anyone who's heard me talk about D&D, like barbarians are my thing. I literally have basically never officially played a character that hasn't been a barbarian before, because that's all I love to do, just smack things. She says, other dwarves you control get +1/+0. Whenever a dwarf you control becomes tapped, create a treasure token. So, after that, you sacrifice the 5 treasures, you search your library for an artifact or dragon card, and you put that onto the battlefield and shuffle your library. Dwarves and dragons. Like, man, dragons are literally my favorite creature type in all of Magic the Gathering. It was the first commander deck I ever built, and then you have dwarves, which is kind of like a little bit different for me because I haven't personally seen someone build around dwarves, but I've wanted to see a dwarf deck for a while now, and now we have Magda over here that just has perfect setup for a mono red dwarves and dragons deck, which I think is hilarious because it almost sounds like Dungeons and Dragons. Again, like John mentioned before, Kaya looks amazing, but I'm going to let John talk about that one.
Before you continue, you mentioned she giving other dwarves +1/+0, and we know that the Forgotten Realms set is coming up, and they'll be in the same standard. So that could be a very good card for standard when she's buffing up all the dwarves. And you could probably expect at least one very efficient and strong dwarf in the Forgotten Realms.
Oh yeah, I can definitely expect a dwarf aggro deck, especially considering that she comes down for two mana. I forgot to mention that. She's a 2/1 that comes down for 1 generic mana and 1 red.
Yeah, thank God that she is legendary.
Yeah, she's a dwarf lord, basically. She's basically a dwarf lord that comes down for 2 mana. That's gonna be so much fun. Like, thank whatever god, like thank Odin that she comes that she's a 2/1 and not something ridiculous like a 2/3 or something like that, because having to spend resources to get rid of that thing is just gonna hurt like any more like burn decks and stuff like, no, not burn decks. Burn decks are used to like getting rid of smaller threats, but at least something that's like, if you had like a bigger butt, just like a 2/4 or something like that, or a 1/4, oh god, that would be horrible to deal with.
Yeah, but still, like it's still, like you said, we still don't know what other cards are going to be spoiled in the set. So we might expect that mono red or red and another color to spice up the dwarves. But the thing is that if you think about it, Torbrand is a dwarf.
That is very true.
And not only that,
red dwarfs is going to be so much fun.
Eldraine has a lot of dwarfs.
Yes, that is correct.
So that land that you can like when you have like 3, I think it said if you have 3 mountains, you play it and makes a token.
Yep.
So there is a high chance that we're gonna see a mono dwarf deck and then Embercleave is going to be going back to its $50 to $40 range again. Because if by that time this set releases and the whole vaccine and everything works out and we get to go back to stores, yeah, we're going to see an Embercleave skyrocketing again. Just because dwarves and red.
Yeah,
You
before
know.
I do continue talking about the cards themselves, that actually reminded me of one of the things you mentioned earlier, and it's that the set is coming up in February instead of January, like some people expected. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so I really do think that even if they did have an initial release date of January, it was a good move in part of Wizards to move that to February, because that way, once that vaccine rolls out, hopefully, I don't want to say that we're going to be all set in like a month or two, but in an optimistic way, let's like assume that our country does wonders and we somehow are all set some time from now. Well, then I think it's a great opportunity for like there to be enough time for at least a greater number of people to be vaccinated, and maybe it'll be safer to start going to stores, which I think is great, honestly.
Okay. Yeah, that is completely true, So JP, what is your favorite card that has been spoiled in this week? And do you expect um anything else broader to what's going on now in Kaldheim, that we know that this is like a Vikings mythological themed set?
So, kind of want to mention the thing that Mark Rosewater posted. He has a blog called Blogatog, and he had Maro's Kaldheim teasers. Those are several teasers. There's a very large list, so I want to run down the list. So, a 5-color legendary enchantment. I automatically thought that would be the World Tree. I'm pretty sure Orengo told me it was confirmed through the trailer. But before the trailer even came out, I was like, "Yep, that's the World Tree." In Norse mythology, the World Tree has all the realms, and it would only make sense that all the realms includes all the colors, and that would be part of the World Tree. Which is very interesting, because if we go back to the card art, could you put the card art on screen? So if you go back to the card art, you see right there the Slitherborn pathway, that extended art. That's just a tree. So maybe all these lands could be a good idea to think. Maybe all these lands are just happening inside the tree. And that would be a cool way that maybe you could put all the pathways together, and maybe have an art. That would be cool. The second teaser is 2 black for a 6/6 with Death Touch. Generally speaking, you've seen similar cards. I remember in Shadows over Innistrad. Shadows over Innistrad? No, I'm thinking Amonkhet. In Amonkhet, we had a 2 for black for a 5/4 zombie, but it had a downside, which was put 2 -2 counters on a creature you control. So we can probably think through the tradition of Magic that this 2 black for a 6/6 with Death Touch probably will have either a downside or something that seems like a downside, but when built properly is an upside. Is something similar. The next one is a card that allows you to kill someone with poison. Now this is the spicy one for me. I went full on conspiracy mode with this one. So this is a Viking set. Jormungander, the World Serpent, is a giant serpent that has a poison strong enough to kill Thor. So I started looking. Okay, poison, but it doesn't say infect. I don't feel like they would bring that back. So I looked. Okay, I remember a sliver having poison. So I looked up, and a virulent sliver has poison. That virulent sliver came out in a set called Future Sight. Future Sight is a set that had possible future mechanics. The second and only other card with poison in that set is the Snake Cult Initiation. That's what it's called. It's 3 and a black, and it gives the enchanted creature, because it's an aura. 3 and a black for enchantment aura. It gives the enchanted creature poison. So just combining those things, I feel like that card that allows you to kill someone with poison might be the Magic the Gathering's version of the World Serpent. Then there's a card with a white, blue, black, red, green, and tap activation. I have no idea what that might be.
Wait, go run that by me one more time. I want you to go ahead and say that 3 times really fast.
wait.
Black,
The
red,
funny-
green, black, white, blue, blue.
The thing is that JP right now, he's like saying these cards, and then you see Chris like this. He's like this, like, and then you think that it's like Chris is conspiracying himself in the set. He's manifesting himself.
I have no idea what this card might be, what this activation might be. It's very similar to Door to Nothingness. I'm pretty sure that has an activation
Okay.
like this. Next is a card that lets you use a creature's toughness to perform an action normally using a creature's power. So I automatically...
Right?
So it's basically...
Can it be that those type of cards that when you attack, it change instead of doing the power, you use your toughness?
I felt that would be a great thing too. Except I feel like that might be a bit boring in comparison. So I was thinking giants, and they because of Viking, they grab you and they throw you. So no, like they throw you. So let's say a creature that grabs a creature, and you can fling a creature, but instead of the power, it's the toughness. I was just thinking something like that. Maybe it's like just something different, but it probably is something like a Doran the Siege Tower, which is a white, black, and a green for a 0/5 that just makes everything deal damage equal to the toughness.
Mm-hmm. But you know what? All these cards that you're mentioning, it makes a lot of sense for this card, the Pyre of Heroes. Just in case let me go ahead and put this in a full screen layout. So Pyre of Heroes, guys, is a card that is a 2-drop. It's an artifact that, just in case it's not legendary, it taps. You have to pay two colorless mana to tap. Sacrifice a creature. Search your library for a creature card that shares a creature type with the sacrificed creature and has converted mana cost equal to 1+ that creature's converted mana cost. Put that card onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. Activate this ability only anytime you could cast a sorcery.
So it's basically like a nerfed birthing pod. Well, not
It's,
really
it's,
nerfed.
it's tribal birthing pod,
Yeah.
and it's 2 mana, colorless, with a 1 mana activation.
No, that's 2 mana activation.
That's 2 mana activation?
Yeah, it's a 2 mana activation.
sorry.
2 mana
Now,
activation.
1 mana activation would have been ridiculous.
Yeah. But
Oh yeah.
It's still very, very good. I'd say
Oh, yeah,
all the cards spoiled, not the ones that are speculation. This is my favorite card.
Also, in response to one of the things that JP mentioned earlier, well, the lands probably revolving around the World Tree, I was looking at some of the other spoilers that have come out. They should be from magicspoiler.com, so they should be quote unquote, trustworthy source. So from what I can see, I don't think that, well, I'm pretty sure, but at least from what I see here, they aren't directly based on the World Tree, considering that we have Seer Step Pathway, unless it would be kind of cool if they made it kind of like if these were like the different paths towards the World Tree. I think that would be kind of cool. But at least from what I see here, it doesn't seem that it's specifically like based around the World Tree itself.
Actually, there is an article that it's from. Oh, I forgot. It's MTG Overprice. I don't remember. But they do mention a lot that this set is more based on the Plains of Kaldheim. So I think what Chris says is completely. I think to speculate that it makes a lot of sense. You know, like these pathways are our road to like the bigger picture. Just
So,
before we continue, Fabi says, add armed and armored and a bearded axe y soy feliz.
She's talking about the Magda commander. Like if you stick it in standard and you make it like Boros based.
Okay.
Yeah.
um, something you mentioned right there. So this set can be very similar to Alara. Because Alara where the shards were different
Mhm.
parts, but then they collided and joined up in one specific area. That's very reminiscent to Alara, I believe. So
No, yeah, like this set brings a lot of like ideas and everything. Even the commanders were spoiled this week as well. I think both of them were spoiled, if I'm not mistaken. Um,
yeah,
you know,
uh,
I got
it's
him.
really interesting that if you guys notice, most of these cards are these sets that are coming out for standard are 50-50. What I mean 50-50 is that they're Wizard of the Coast is concentrating in like the standard format, but they're concentrating as well to the commander players. Like they're taking a note that the people that actually invest in their cards are commander players or Q players, because Q players always, they buy card singles in a bunch to start their cube or to create their cube. And it's really interesting that they're kneeling down a lot on commander players, and that's really really awesome. Yeah, money. Yeah, like
Hmm. Oh,
we
yeah,
all know,
all about
we
the
all know they made money. We all
so
know.
They'll make money. Yeah.
you know.
there's a few other cards I kind of want to run through these as quickly as
Yeah,
possible.
sure.
So there's new non-token creatures, non-creature tokens. A card that can make a token that's a copy of target permanent for no mana, which I am assuming is probably a tap and a tap effect. Uh, then a black creature that can copy other creatures, which is interesting. The introduction of a creature type that players have been wanting for years. That's I have no idea what that might be.
that is way too vague.
Yes. A card with 3 activation costs, one that's only ever used once before, and the other 2 have never been used before.
That's Oko.
Uh, protection from god creatures.
What?
So there's just a rule snippet. Protection from god creatures. So there's probably a lot more gods, including the one that was spoiled. Sacrifice 5 treasures, which is also a thing that was spoiled. If 3 or more creatures died this turn, I don't know what that is, but I love it. Choose 1, 2, or 3 at random. I don't know what that card might be, but that sounds like fun.
I like that one.
Giants, wizards, and lands. What card contains that rule text? So we know that giants will be a prevalent thing, just like in Norse mythos, giants, dwarves, and elves, alongside humans and gods. You may search your library and or graveyard for a rune card. That's probably a new subtype. As long as you control 3 or more legendary creatures, whatever that may be. An angel warrior, a zombie rogue, a dwarf cleric, a horse spirit, a vampire dragon. Let's see. X is the number of vehicles you control plus the number of equipment you control. So vehicles are coming back.
Yeah, there's a spoiled vehicle already.
Yeah.
As long as you have at least 7 life more than your starting life total. And a legendary creature wolf, which was spoiled. A bird spirit, a legendary creature bird spirit, which has yet to be spoiled. A legendary creature giant wizard. Legendary creature demon berserker, and the only one that actually came to mind was the legendary creature squirrel.
Yep.
So the squirrel is what I'm assuming the Magic of the Gathering version of Ratatasker, the squirrel that runs up the world tree and is the messenger.
Hmm.
So it's probably going to be a squirrel god, maybe.
Yes.
That'd be interesting.
I
Squirrel
will
god.
definitely start making a squirrel deck.
Yo,
I will forget about the dwarf deck and make a squirrel deck if there is a fucking squirrel god.
Yo, I've been anxious to make a commander squirrel deck. The thing is that the only good commander squirrel that you can find is the one that came out in the unsanctioned set,
I
the
mean,
black green one. That it's
with-
not that broken. So, wink wink, can you guys let me use it as a commander?
that's what I was going to just ask us. I don't have a problem. That sounds fun.
Because oh my god, like I ordered with Carlos, I ordered the whole non-foil foil bundle from the secret layers. So he was like, he told me, well, you can sell the non-foils ones, and I'm like, there's a high chance that I'm not gonna sell them to keep the foils in the binder.
Yeah.
Except the rocks, because chromatic lantern, that one should look so beautiful, that art in foil. But I want to make a commander because I want to make squirrels. I want to kill people with a horde of squirrels. You get it? Instead of
Block
making
Emperor with
Squirrel
50
nest, make infinite squirrel tokens.
yes, squirrels are the key.
So,
in my next goblin deck, basically.
Alejandro, you mentioned you had the spoilers for the legendary creatures for the commanders.
I can talk about them. Okay, so they were leaked, and then but people, and this was a funny thing that happened in the leak. Since it was very low res, the picture, people assumed that the zero cost in Ranar the Ever Watchful was actually a snow covered symbol, snow mana covered symbol, and people freaked out. And people assumed, oh, there's gonna be snow covered lands, and they said that for like a week. I believed it too because you're Kaldheim, you see it's like it's snowy and harsh and all that, and you're assuming it's gonna be snow covered. But sadly, it does not seem like there's snow in this plane. At least we're not going to the basic snow covered lands in standard, at least for this plane. So I'm going to start with Renard the Ever Watchful. He's 2 colorless and a white and a blue for a 2/3 legendary creature spirit warrior that says it is flying and vigilance, and the first card you foretell each turn costs 0 to foretell. We don't know the foretell mechanic yet. They actually they were aware that people were going to start asking about them, and they said, like, we're not spoiling it now. It's a cool mechanic. They want to introduce, I think, in January. I don't think they're going to spoil it in December 24th, so they're going to keep it in January. And it finally says, whenever you exile one or more cards from your hand and or permanents from the battlefield, create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. So the assumption is that the foretell ability has something to do with exiling either cards from your hand for an additional cost or cards from the field for an additional cost. Sort of like a cycling ability. But again, we don't know. We're still assuming. And the other card that was spoiled was Lathril, Blade of the Elves. It's 2 colorless, a black and a green, for a 2/3 legendary creature Elf Noble with Menace. And it states, whenever Lathril, Blade of the Elves, deals combat damage to a player, create that many 1/1 green elf warrior creature tokens, right? And you get to also tap this creature, tap 10 untapped elves you control, and each player loses 10 life and you gain 10 life. Thankfully, you have to actually tap your commander, like it's an actual tap ability. It's not like a hermit druid type of thing where you can, tap 10 and then tap 10 and then tap 10 and you kill the whole table. And obviously that was probably done by design. Although when the card was initially leaked, we did not know it actually had a tap symbol. So people did freak for like a few days, assuming that if you had like 40 or 50 elves, you could just tap them all and kill everyone on the table instantaneously. Those are the 2 commanders that are going to be released in Kaldheim. I think especially the elves one, it's a very powerful Golgari elf because you can stick like some enchantments or some swords on it, and then you can create some nice elf tokens, and then start tapping. And if you find a way to tap and untap, which you probably do with artifacts,
Agree.
you can still probably drain everyone on the table instantaneously. Um, the Spirit Warrior one, it all depends on how powerful Foretell as an ability is. And it brings me to like a side point. The professor talked about how he was disappointed that the 5 commander decks that we got for Ikoria were tied to the plane. And I agree with that a lot. I like my commander products not to be tied specifically to a plane. And although the Lathril Blade of Elves is only tied because there's elves in the set, but the Spirit Warrior has to utilize the Foretell mechanic, which means it will forever be binded to the Foretell mechanic, which we don't know when you're ever going to see a Foretell mechanic ever again. So I kind of don't like that because it limits the playability of the deck. Unless, Foretell becomes like a broken ass mechanic, which I doubt it. I don't think it's going to become like something broken. But it limits the way you can construct the deck as a result. So while these are fun, I like them because they're $20 each. They're cheap. So if you want to start Commander, there's a great way. It's like good gateway now to like.
Mm-hmm.
I used to recommend the $40 the decks. Get these, get the elf one or get one of the past ones, because also Magic is overprinting everything. So if you don't buy them at the moment, just wait a few months, and I'm pretty sure you could probably find them even cheaper than when they were released. And they're really good decks to start with. I still vouch for the $40 commander decks if they're not tied to a planes. So the Ikoria one, it was cute, but it limit a lot of potential creativity because bounded to the mutate ability, for example, which I know some people liked, but for paper Magic, mutate is hell. Like, it's so difficult to keep track of everything if you go like crazy with mutate. So that's one example of like one that's tied to that specific mechanic, which again, I don't even know when you're going to see mutate ever again. From here to 5 years, you might see the mutate mechanic pop up again. So I don't know if JP did you talk about Pyre of Heroes? Because I like that card, but I don't know if you talked about it.
I just said I love it, and it's a sacrifice.
Okay, for people who don't know, it's essentially Birthing Pot.
Yeah.
It's 2 colorless. It is an artifact. It costs 2 when you tap it. You sack a creature. You search your library for a creature that shares a creature type, so it's limited to the creature type. With the sacrifice, the creature has converted mana cost equal to 1 plus the creature's converted mana cost. Put that card into the battlefield. Then shuffle your library, and you activate this card anytime you could activate a sorcery. So it is essentially Birthing Pot. It costs less, but it has the downside that it has to stick to a tribe deck, which, at least for Kaldheim, it won't be a problem since clearly it's designed as a tribe planes or a tribe set, So at least for that set, and possibly the next set, which will probably be very reliant on wizards and such, I can see Pyro of Heroes becoming a humongous problem in standard and potentially like modern in some instances, like maybe elves.
Mhm.
Although people have argued that it might be too slow for elves, and I kind of agree with that statement. It might be too slow for humans as well, depending on the circumstances. Well, I've heard that. I don't know, JP. Fight me. Come on.
I've seen you've seen me play. I had a Safi Eric's daughter deck.
Yeah.
You've seen me play a creature that untaps the birthing pod, sacrifice this creature, look for another creature that untaps the birthing pod, and keep a loop, and then bring those creatures back from the graveyard into play.
True.
You see me do that. Sure, that might not be as easy to do with this, but I'm just thinking, okay, Renegade Rallier is used in a white-green versions of Death and Taxes. It can be used as a sideboard piece in Human because it is a human, and it's a human knight or a human warrior. So those are two very broad creature types. Just by being a human, getting sacrificing your 2-drop, getting Renegade Rallier, on bringing back your 2-drop.
I guess that's fair. Like the argument, I don't know if it was Commander Quarters or Seth from MTG Goldfish, what he argued was that the idea of humans and elves, for example, is to go wide. And since this doesn't make you go wide, except with a few exceptions of cards, he doesn't see that possibility of being used that much. But I feel like people are going to try their best, you know.
Zombies.
So
But
true.
but
True,
actually,
yeah.
actually in elves, you can go ahead because the card says that it's the converted mana cost of the card that you sacrifice plus one.
Yeah.
So let's say that you have
Can get rid of it.
dang, I forgot
Missouri.
no, not Azuri. The elf that you, when it comes in play, you draw a card.
Lana War, Lana War
Vision.
Visionary, or the 3-mana one.
No,
Yes.
the 2-mana one. The
You might as
2-mana
well
one.
stick the 3-mana one too.
No, yeah. But so you play that card.
Elvish Visionary.
Elvish Visionary. So you play Elvish Visionary. Let's say that your 2-drop was not Elvish Visionary, but then in your next turn you play Elvish Visionary. In your 4th turn, you go ahead and you can go ahead and sacrifice Elvish Visionary and look for a Lord. You can look for the one that makes mana or any other Lord that is a tree drop. So in theory, you can like speed up that going infinite in mana, or speed up the fact that your elves will be bigger every time you like play them because you're gonna have a Lord. Plus, there's this new Lord that they spoiled it in this set. That is it creates 3 mana and it gives 1/1 to other elves.
Actually,
So
want to talk about that specifically. So, okay, I know like it hasn't been addressed, but I think it was either the professor or no, it was actually a very fringe YouTube channel that I watch. I forgot the name. I can post it up later or whatever. The guy went on a tangent explaining something that kind of people have not realized. So there are gonna be a bunch of products for Kaldheim. There's gonna be a draft set. There's gonna be the one that's like a set one where
yeah, the set theme booster that I imagine that they're gonna do the same thing like
they're gonna do the same thing. Like,
the list.
They're probably gonna do a stupid list again. They're gonna make some spicy cards be like the ones you get every four boosters. Cool. In addition, you're getting the theme boosters, which the theme boosters we've seen for a long time. I think they started in Dominaria. You usually don't see them a lot in local game stores. You kind of see them in Walmarts or like your dollar
Walgreens,
store.
yeah.
You see them there. Which essentially, what if people don't know, the theme booster is tied to a color. So you see like a red symbol, and you grab the booster. It costs $7.99, and you get around 35 cards inside. Most of them are commons. I think 6 to 10 are uncommons, and you get 1 or potentially 2 rares or mythics in the booster, right? Usually, the commons and uncommons are tied to some theme because the concept is it's weird because they kind of like still trying to figure out what to do with them. But the concept is you can kind of build like a janky deck with it, or you can kind of like use it for very limited play, like very janky limited play with your friends. But they still kind of haven't figured out, like Wizards hasn't figured out what to do with them. The problem lies with the following. They spoiled 5 monocolored rares that will only be found in these theme boosters. With the exception that you might, in a very minuscule chance, you might be able to find them in the set boosters. In one of the turn the head or surprising card chance or something. The problem is, and this is the one that JP said, the elf one, the one that it's called Canopy Tactician, 3 colored, it's in a green, for a 3/3 elf warrior that says other elves you control get +1/+1, and you add 3 green to it. It doesn't sound powerful in like modern. It doesn't sound powerful in like other more powerful formats, but in standard could potentially be a very powerful like a big drop that you do in elves. Like you have your 1,000 tokens and then you blast the +1/+1 and you swing and you win. And the problem then lies is if this card can only be found in theme boosters, it's going to shoot up in price incredibly because even in theme boosters, you're not super guaranteed like the card. You have a small percentage of it. So I'm seeing this as having like the same issues that Nexus of Fate had when it was released. where the card shot up to like 30, 40, $50. Everyone was using it because it was the bio box. And that's when they stopped, like 2 sets later, they stopped doing the, bio box cards that were not inside the set because, they were trying something different. Obviously, Nexus of Fate broke it, and it was bound
Yeah.
to happen. So now they're just experimenting with another stupid idea, which I don't think it's like gonna end up well. And this elf might be the key. Either the elf or potentially the Valkyrie Harbinger, which the only thing that stops the Valkyrie Harbinger from being broken is the fact that it costs 6 mana. Because it's 4 colorless and 2 planes. For an Angel Cleric 4/5 that reads, it's a flying lifelink. And at the beginning of your end step, if you gain 4 or more life this turn, create a 4/4 white angel creature token for flying and vigilance. Thankfully, it's 6 mana. It might not see standard play too often because I think the cutoff usually has to be 4 or 5 to be like, worthy of being played. Like, Lyra Drumbringer is a great example of a recent good angel that we had in standard. But, in the future, if they keep using weird, like, fringy rares and sticking them in theme boosters and thinking, oh, it's fine, go look for fringe players. Like, something like the Canopy Tactician might stick through the cracks and might create a problem for standard. Oh, and this is without considering the fact that it's a problem in paper. But if you get to Arena, you might be thinking, it's fine, I can crack it in a booster. No, you can't. It's not there.
It's not available in Arena?
Why would it be available in your weird Arena booster? You're going to have to use a wild card, sir, to crack it and to obtain it.
That's fucking disgusting.
Right? So that is a big problem that they either need to address with this set. Like, we're assuming you can only get it by cracking a wild card. Ideally, Wizards shouldn't be this crazy, and they should put it on the booster, but we don't know that.
Yeah, we don't know that yet.
So there you go.
But it is true. It is true. If they do that, it's like ridiculous because then that card is going to be like, like you mentioned, Nexus of Fate all over again. Oh, Lord Jesus.
Yep. And Elves, people are going to play Elves. Even if it's not super hyper competitive, people are going to try to play Elves. Really.
Definitely.
So
Definitely.
This card is going to be key no matter what because it's a Lord. And it's probably the only Lord. Maybe there's another Lord stuck in Kaldheim. We don't know. But
you imagine that they reprint Shaman of the Pack?
Oh my God. Let's go crazy.
John, stop giving them ideas.
Go crazy.
Stop.
Hey, you know one of the things that I liked back a long time ago, Day 9 had this show in Geek and Sundry that it's like how to play Magic the Gathering, Spellslingers. So I remember that Felicia Day played, I don't remember if it was her or another actress. She went to play Spellslingers, and then her deck was Golgari Elves. It was so funny because every time she played Shaman of the Pack, she would be like, Shaman of the Pack, caca! I would be like, what? But it makes sense because like you play Shaman of the Pack, they're going to hit you for a lot of damage because, her and other elves hit you in the face. But dang.
Yeah.
So it would be interesting if they like, hey, let's reprint this card that has not been reprinted for a couple of years. Just so you know, it's a little spice there, but this set I'm really into this set. But I'm gonna Alejandro, like there's something that you mentioned about the snow-covered lands. In Kaldheim, it is snowing. If you see the borderless Kaya the Inextricable, you'll see snow around her art. So probably, yes, there's snow, but probably we won't get the lands. So there's a 50-50 chance. So,
yeah. I mean, I hope we get it. It'd be cool.
No, it would be really nice. It would be really nice. You know why? Because if Wizard of the Coast does this, if they put snow-covered lands, they can sell, not at least them, but the people that still have their snow-covered land secret layers on dust, to resell them in the secondhand market, people are going to start buying them because, hey, look, foil snow-covered lands. And the Modern Horizon ones can go up in price because people are going to be like, probably they go ahead and they say, hey, so we got snow-covered lands, but we're not making full art. We're just going to make the basic land art. But then people that like full arts are going to be like, hey, let's jump in and buy the Modern Horizons ones, and then they can go at least go up in price, like let's say $1.50, $1.75. And we all know that the island one is always going to be $3-5 because blue is like the most expensive and glorious card and color in Magic the Gathering, because thanks to people like Alejandro, that color is broken.
Beautiful, beautiful color.
So my card of choice that I loved, and it's because of her ultimate, is Kaya the Inexorable. I don't know how to say that inexorable. I'm gonna say
Horrible.
inexorable. I think so. I think that the X is like th, but I really don't know. Maybe when I'll find a video and see how they spell it. So she is black, white, and 3. So she's 5. She's a 5-drop. With a 5 loyalty, with 3 abilities. Her +1 is put a ghost form counter on top. Oh, on up to 1 target non-token creature. It gains when this creature dies or is put into exile, return it to its owner's hand and create a 1/1 spirit creature token with flying. The only thing that came into my mind is +1, put it on Golos. Y'all are not going to see Golos in the command zone never again. Then there's the -3 exile target non-line permanent. I liked it because it's a board, a complete board target removal. But the most saucy part is the emblem. She has an emblem that says, at the beginning of your upkeep, you may cast a legendary spell from your hand, from your graveyard, or from among cards you own in the exile without paying its mana cost.
Spicy. It's great for a Cathis deck. I mean, obviously. No, you don't think so? Okay.
No, that card, eso no existe. No, that
Oh,
doesn't-
okay. I thought you were saying.
I don't want that. No. Like, no.
Hey, but
You can keep that out of Golos. You don't need to cast all of your Planeswalkers every single turn after I kill them every single turn. No. Let's not have that.
that is an important card. For everybody that is here, like yesterday we were playing Commander in our usual Commander night stream, and then in one of the turns JP was winning, and then Orengo
39 life.
39 life.
39. He was 8. Orengo is 17.
Yeah.
I guess I play 3 Planeswalkers and win.
Yeah, because Orengo was like, I was like I had that hangover meme, like analyzing what am I going to do, because Orengo was like, John, if we don't win now, we're going to lose. And I'm like, give me a second, let me think. So it was funny because I got the Nicol Bolas War of the Sparks Planeswalker in my hand. So I played Aminado, and then I drew the card and put it on top. I paid for Golos. But the funny thing is, when I revealed the 3 cards, I obviously got the Nicol Bolas, and I don't remember what was the other card, but at the same time I got the deep glow creature that multiplies the counters. So
he ultimated Nicol
literally
Bolas.
I multiplied all my Planeswalkers, and I'm like, wait, you two don't have legendaries. I don't have to go infinite. I sacrifice. I -8 Nicol Bolas, and I win.
Yeah, that was horrifying.
Yeah, it was fun. But at the other 2 games, oh god, that commander, what was it called? Udri? Ubri? Odun?
Obun Moldaya ancestor, the one
No.
from Zuniga
Yeah.
Rising.
Yeah, that
That's a
commander.
good commander. That's a
That
good
commander. Oh my god, JP.
I won, but it's mostly because
Yeah.
I generated 18 mana in one turn. Torment of Hellfire.
Sounds about JP. Sounds about JP.
416. I was like, Well, I got 2 permanents in hand and 4 cards. I died.
I'm
Yeah.
just
Nothing else I can do.
aggro you guys into oblivion.
Sounds beautiful.
But hey, do you guys have anything else that you guys want to mention to our listeners slash viewers about the Kaldheim set?
It's a cool set. I'm kind of excited. It was the set, like I think I mentioned, like in the .5 podcast or the one podcast. I don't know. I remember saying that Kaldheim was the least one that I was interested in. It kind of has me a little interested now. Kind of interested. I do hate that we have pathways. I don't like pathways, guys. I get they're good for standard. They're actually very good for standard, but I hate pathway lands as a whole. Um, but there's elves and the dwarves seem interesting. Um,
there's this
But yeah.
there's this card that if Fabi's still here, there's this god card called Halvar, God of Battle.
She saw them all, but yeah,
She
we
saw
should
it?
discuss the god card. No, but we should discuss because I wanted to discuss the god card. Actually,
Yeah.
no,
So Halvar, God of Battle. I don't have the flip side, so if you can find the flip side on angle,
On it.
that would be awesome. So I'm gonna read it. I have it already here in my other screen. So creatures you control that are enchanted or equipped have that double strike. Let's start with that.
Yeah.
Have double strike. And then he has another ability that at the beginning of each combat, you may attach target aura or equipment attached to a creature you control to target creature you control. Yeah, that's what it says. Okay, so and then it's a 4-drop, 2 white and 2 colorless, 4/4 that has a flip side. That this is the interesting part. Normally, we got used to Zendikar was flip side are lands, right? How about flip sides are now equipment?
Yep, I got the equipment. So the equipment reads, it's a Sword of the Realms. It costs 1 colorless and 1 white for a legendary artifact equipment that reads, equipment creature gets +2/+0 and has vigilance. It's pretty good. Whenever equipped creature dies, return it to its owner's hand. And then for equipment, it costs the same as an actual mana cost, which is 1 colorless and 1 white. So yeah, it's interesting. Like you said, the idea in the previous Zendikar was all about lands. So now maybe they might do the same thing. So where they have like a mythic line of flip cards, and then like maybe a rare line, and then like an uncommon line, or just the gods have like a badass equipment on the other side. Also, the gods don't have ways to recover themselves. They're not indestructible, and they don't come back.
Mm-hmm.
That's very interesting. Kind of got me thinking about the different gods in Norse mythos. Thinking about what if like you're just getting all the colors like white, black, red, green, blue.
Yeah.
We already have the white one. The black one might be something like hell, hella, like hell. Just thinking about the different like tier, Odin. Odin might be the blue god, but at the same time, I'm thinking giants will be, since it's a frost giants. For giants will probably be like a giant god, and that will be the blue version. So yeah, it's probably gonna be a cycle of mythics that turn into equipments.
Oh yeah, definitely is gonna be a cycle. I'm almost
Yeah,
certain.
what I really like about it is that it reminds me a lot of like Dungeons and Dragons, in which you have like, there's like legendary hero, but also with that legendary hero, there's usually, it comes in hand with like a legendary weapon or a legendary sword. So I do enjoy the concept of like, you see Halvar, and then on the flip side, you notice that it's like, the sword, but when you look at the art, you can see that is like, that's his sword. That's on the flip side, and I think that's really, really cool.
Okay. Final question before we say our goodbyes. So, do you guys like the metal showcase cards? Because we're getting the same treatment as all past sets. We're getting a borderless, we're getting the heavy metal ones, and the normal cards. Do you think? Because I know that Orengo mentioned this when we were talking. I think in the past episode, he mentioned it. Do you think that it would have been better that these metal cards had the same treatment as the secret layer drop that we got for this. I think that drop is already discontinued. It was until the 15th. But you guys know that they had this Lacuna Coil treatment that the cards are full art, they're not foil, but they have like uh how would I mention it? Album 80s art style, like very very heavy metal art style. Do you guys think it would have been better to see cards like that, or do you prefer the ones that we're getting now that it's the borders are very Nordic and the art style still looks very 80s heavy metal cards? What do you guys think? Like, just one by one, say if you guys are in that would have been the other style, or you guys really do like the ones that they mentioned or shown right now this week.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I've talked enough.
So I personally do like the two styles. I like what they're doing in the Kaldheim set with those borders. They look amazing. And I do really, really enjoy the heavy metal style of that. It's a secret layer that's going to come out, correct?
Yeah.
Like, I really do enjoy the style. It looks amazing. But I am so disappointed in the content. Like, the actual cards, they're Dark. Great because of the name. The art for it is amazing, but who plays Dark?
Yeah.
Like, they just put such unremarkable cards in that secret layer. Why do they keep doing this, and why do people keep buying these? I don't want to say they're trash products, but they're kind of trash, yeah. Like, the art is amazing. Like, I don't have any problems with the artists and the amount of work that was put into these cards, because you can see it. Like, it honestly looks like it was something that the people who did these arts, they put a lot of love into, and they look amazing. And I love it. But it really just is a terrible product in like what the cards do. Like, it's terrible. I hate it. I don't want it. Please take it back. Give me something better.
The problem is that the idea always was to have cards with different aesthetics, so you can customize, like a skin, like a League of Legends skin. It's like the equivalent. And I feel like the reason they'll never admit to it, but I feel the reason is obviously they're aware of the secondary market.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't want to push like 3 or 4 broken ass cards in one specific secret layer and sell it to you for $30 or $40. They just don't want to do that. They're too aware of the secondary market, so they'll print like Assassin's Trophy. That's your like good card from that secret layer. That's why the secret layer can be worth $30, and it's fine. It's worth it. It's because it has secret layer, and I think the other two, that's freaking beautiful. The other two are kind of worth like $4 or $5 each, and they're good removal spells they're using Commander. I do agree that the Commander that they chose to represent, like the one that they used, it's like a 70-cent card that no one uses. I think EDA Shrek has like 10 decks or something. Like no one uses that Commander. I guess it'll make people use them because they'll get their secret layer or start putting their little cards in their decks, and they'll look at the stupid Commander and be like, sure, let me try, I guess. And they'll try. God knows they'll try, but it's just gonna be like not worth it. They're gonna play one with their play group and be like, it's a stupid deck. I hate this card. For me personally, I like Christopher said, I like both. Both styles are fine. I think I mentioned it previously that it would have been difficult for them to pre-plan ahead so far in advance for them to be like, this would have been a great idea to stick in Kaldheim. I think they were aware they wanted to make like a heavy metal thing going on. Maybe that's why the secret lair was like a little prelude to Kaldheim, because secret lairs tend to be more off the cuff. They probably have a Zoom meeting every two weeks, and they're like, okay, we need to sell some secret lairs. Any ideas? And then someone's like, we should maybe do like something for Kaldheim. Let's do like heavy metal, since we already have like the contracts with like Mastodon and all the old other bands. We're going to use for Kaldheim in the early sneak peek. So then they did the Lacuna Coil thing, so it kind of like bridges together. But then they realized, and they saw the feedback, and they're like, oh my God, this is so good. We need to keep doing more of these for next year.
Yeah.
They realized they needed it. Um, but yeah, I would have preferred the ones that we saw for Secret Rare, obviously. But as far as showcases go, it's on theme. It makes sense, and I dig it.
Well, you guys put some disrespect on Praximundar, and I guess I have to be the one to
Oh,
defend
go
him.
ahead, defend him.
It's a damn good card when you put it like rooftop storm. Just cast it for free. I
Okay.
mean, that's. But I've seen a lot of control decks use them as just a control, and that's a finisher. It's a pretty good card. Other than that, I really do enjoy all the card arts,
Mhm.
whether it be the Secret Lair one or the new one. I just feel like it's on theme. Maybe it's not as embellished as the Secret Lair, but it's like it feels in like a Magic the Gathering art instead of a skin. So I kind of just I'm fine with both.
Okay. Nice, nice, nice. I'm fine with both, like, it's same thing, it's like, it's all depending on how you want to like stylish your commander, because we all know, we all know that these cards, when they come like those pretty arts, we all know that we commander players, we look for them to, put a little spice in the commander. Sometimes even a lot of people, what they do is, I think Orengo has a Urza in a very old school style
Mhm.
Urza. He still has the OG Ursa from Modern Horizon,
Yeah.
and but normally, what us commander players do is that we have the OG card, and there it is.
Yeah,
It's
it
even
has like a
foil.
OG aesthetic to it. Like it looks like it's from like Urza Saga.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it has the old border and everything, and they use like an old art for Urza, which was used for like I think like a spell, like a random ass spell that just happens to have Urza in it, and they repurposed it to be like for Urza the Artificer. It's a cute card. It cost me like $9 on like Instagram. It was like a dude that does a lot of like
No, yeah, but like what I'm trying to get into is that a lot of commander players have the original card from their deck, and then they have the proxy.
Yeah.
Obviously, we'll mention this in another topic episode. Proxy cards, depending on your play group, some play groups accept them, some play groups don't. Our play group, we know that some of our friends don't have like the budget to buy the very expensive cards, so we don't mind proxies because we understand some cards are ridiculously expensive, like Mana Crypt, and between others like Taiga, these cards that are like $500, $100 or more. So
Yeah.
we understand that, but that's again us and our play group. So uh, what we're gonna do now is, guys. So this is the end of tonight's episode. It was very epic and metal. So, Chris, where they can find you?
Well, like I've mentioned before, you can find me over at my Twitch at ChrisCross13. I have mentioned this before, and it's been quite busy with a few things, but hopefully I will have some streams and some content coming very soon. I am getting a few things ready. I'm trying to get a quality camera too.
And JP, where can they find you?
You can find me here every Saturday on Cardboard Cave MTG Podcast. I will soon have the whole Facebook admin thing settled, and I will also be posting probably the link towards my the list of my cube. So if you any of the listeners or any of the viewers want to draft my cube, you can use that link. I'll probably have two links: one for CubeTutor.com and one for Cube Cobra. One might be a bit more outdated, which would need to be updated. But both links will be given to John, and I'll also post them on the Facebook page.
Okay, so Alejandro, where can they find you?
You can find me here at Cardboard Cave. You can find me at the podcast from the Movie Guy. But more importantly than any of those things, you can just Google my name, or you can find me on IMDb because I'm a filmmaker and I do movies.
And guys, you can find me as all my social media as Big Boss 117PR, and plug. Tomorrow at the Movie Guys podcast, we're gonna talk about Mandalorian.
Ooh!
And not only that we're gonna talk about Mandalorian, it's gonna be a war against the dark side and the light side. because it's gonna be super, super saucy. It's gonna be a war against sweaties, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna say it, and normies. So,
Ooh, I'm a normie.
but guys, remember you can follow us at Cardboard Cave on YouTube and Facebook. Like, you guys can be updated in everything and all the topics that we are going to do in the future. Plus, pay attention to our social media, because remember that all of us are going to have our fan cast for this animated series that is coming from Netflix. Which are our choices of our actors and actresses that are going to be casted? But our fans, our fan cast of who we think that should be casted. But guys, see you guys next Saturday. You guys are extremely awesome. And nothing. Here is, our favorite LGS store. Hey geeks, do you love comics, collectibles, and TCG? Well, here at Cardboard Cave, we have the place for you. Pass by Kapitan Granuja Comics and Games and find all your favorite geeky items there. Look for them at Facebook or Instagram, or call them at 787-659-7003. A store blessed